Nikola Jokic just had maybe the greatest statistical season in NBA history, and the Nuggets didn't even make it to the conference finals. Something has to change, and it has to change now before Jokic gets fed up and walks out the door. So, what they need to do, bring in more 3-and-D shooting, and get a little bit cheaper. And I've got two great ideas for guys that can come in and be these 3-and-D wings around Jokic. So make sure you stick around for the end of the video. But first things first, we got to talk about Jokic because he's the best player in the game. And watching what the Thunder are doing to these other teams in the playoffs puts into perspective how good Jokic really is, because he took them to the brink of elimination and almost beat them. He's going to be 30 next year, coming off a season where he's just been ridiculous. 30 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Like the last 5 years, he's either been the MVP or the runner-up. And this was his best season yet, and he didn't win MVP, which is kind of ridiculous. That's kind of the whole argument for him. But I guess since SGA beat him and moved on, then, you got to give it to him. Looking at his shooters, though, apart from MPJ and Jamal, the floor's not really spaced. I know Brown and Gordon shoot 40% from 3, but they combine for less than 6 attempts a game. Westbrook and Peyton Watson are your next best shooters after that. You've got to get some better shooting around Jokic. End of story. Guys that, other than MPJ, have to be watched 24/7. They took the Thunder to 7. This is a team that is right there in NBA championship contention. They're probably the second best team in the league right now, arguably, when it comes playoff time. If they add a couple of guys like a Trey Murphy or Dalton Knecht, it could take them to the next level. And first off with Trey Murphy, this is kind of the home run shot here because he's 24 years old, coming off of a year where he averaged 21.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.1 steals per game. New Orleans is not going to give him up cheap. And the Nuggets don't really have a ton of assets that teams are just drooling over. He shot 45% from the field and 36% from 3 last year. So he's definitely a premier target on the trade market this year for a guy that can pull up from the dang logo. I mean, he's shooting from the Pelican winger. That is way deep. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, can defend. This is like a premier trade target in the modern NBA. This is every GM's dream. And if the Nuggets can swing a trade for him, he's more than a shooter. He can get downhill. He can get to spots. Watch him put Derek White, one of the better defenders in the league, put on a display and go right by him, get to his spot, and hit a really tough fall-away jumper. If they can get this guy alongside of Michael Porter Jr., now they're probably going to have to give up MPJ in this trade. If they do make a trade, it'll probably be MPJ and draft capital, if I had to guess. But if they can keep both of those guys alongside of Jokic and company, look out. I mean, he's coming off screens, pulling up from Narnia. That is a deep 3 right there. And then coming off the little drag screen and getting to a spot, making a play, and finishing up top. Remember, he's got that 7-foot wingspan. He's 6'9". He is a big scorer. He gets downhill against Derek White. He sees the opening, uses his shoulder to keep Derek White off. Porzingis comes over to try and block it, and he just lays it in right over the top. And then in transition, that's not an easy shot to hit. With the 7-footer, Tingus Pingus closing out on you, and he still gets it to go. And then, wow. I mean, sidestepping into the corner, knocking it down into the Celtics bench, and then just gonna go ahead and let them know about it. Yeah, Trey Murphy is a beautiful fit in Denver if they can somehow pull that off. Dalton Knecht would be my second target here if I'm the Nuggets. 6'6" with a 6'9" wingspan and can shoot the cover off of it. We saw he did it at Tennessee, one of my favorite prospects in last year's class. Wanted the Hornets to get him originally, then they traded for him. It was a mess, but he averaged 9 points a game, 3 rebounds nonetheless, and shot 46% from the field, 38% from 3 on 4.5 attempts. And that brings up the question, why did JJ Redick not play this man in the playoffs? He's a legit rotation piece. He's 24. He's ready. And he had 0 playoff minutes this season. You throw him to Denver, and you let him either come off the bench or start, either one, alongside of Nikola Jokic, and he's going to go off. You saw what he did against Utah this year. 37-5 in 38 minutes, showcasing that potential, showcasing that flamethrower ability that he's got, especially out of the corner, that great release. It's so beautiful to watch him shoot a basketball. He was 12 for 16 and 9 of 12 from 3 that night en route to those 37 points. If they get either one of these guys, and Dalton Knecht would be pretty easy to go get, I feel like, then man, that's something special here in Denver. They're way under the salary cap, to be blunt. They are $4.5 million under the first apron, and they got about $7 million of a cushion over the second apron. However, these are their 5th and 6th highest paid players going into this year. They got their big four and then a bunch of guys on rookie contracts. They got Darren Holmes coming back. They can either use him or try and use him as a trade piece. And honestly, if you hit up the Lakers, because he's 6'10", with a 7'1" wingspan, the Lakers desperately need a center. If anything, he can be your backup center and just move Jackson Hayes somewhere far away from Los Angeles. If you can bring in Darren Holmes, you send him Darren Holmes, maybe a second-round pick, or, hey, just straight up, hit him up like, hey, let's swap these. I mean, they were around the same neighborhood of picks. Darren Holmes was the 22nd pick. Knecht was 17th. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Maybe they throw in a second-round pick. The big question mark for Denver would be Michael Porter Jr. because he's still got 2 years left on his deal, $71 million. If you're looking to go get Trey Murphy, you're probably going to have to send off Michael Porter Jr. And the Nuggets front office has reportedly been hesitant to trade pieces of that championship team. Now, he's 6'10", so ideally he is the perfect flamethrower next to Nikola Jokic. However, last year in the semifinals against the Timberwolves, he went AWOL. And then this year, of course, getting injured, but before he was injured, wasn't really producing. These are the three other options alongside of Jamal and Jokic in that starting lineup. And a lot of times, it's easy to take away MPJ because he's the only shooter out there that scares opponents. He averaged 18.2 points, 7 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. And it's easy to lock in on him when you can kind of just let Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon do whatever they want. This was his second best season as a pro. He shot 50% from the field and 40% from 3 on 6.4 attempts. So I would, like to see them keep Michael Porter Jr., but I understand if they got to trade him. That's the big decision. Nuggets fans, let me know down in the comments below. Y'all keeping MPJ or trading him? What do you think? Because it's back-to-back no-shows in the playoffs after he was huge for them in their finals run. Christian Brown is going to be getting a 4-year, $120 million extension after this season. So they kind of want to go all in on this next year because they've proven, once again, you can be good enough to go out and win that championship. Christian Brown did a phenomenal job of replacing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You see the numbers there. It's beautiful. And before they have to pay him a bag, maybe they need to go out and get like a Trey Murphy, go way over the salary cap, go into the second apron, and then worry about the rest after this season when you have to pick and choose and kind of retool this core. Very efficient shooting for Christian Brown. He's the best cutter in the league. You have some future picks. You will be getting your 2026 pick because you sent this year's pick to Orlando. In 2027, you have a swap with the Thunder. And so basically you have 3 of your next 5 first-round picks, and then some second-round picks as well. You do need to do some internal development. Peyton Watson continues to be developed. They need to turn him into more than just a corner shooter. He's got to be able to hit it from above the break. Julian Strawther is a guy that needs to have a big role on next year's team. 9 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, 1.3 assists in 22 minutes per game this year in 65 games. He's going to be 23 next year. Entering his 3rd season, it's time for him to take the leap and make a step and be able to contribute to this rotation. He contributed on a constant basis this year, but this time he's got to be a playoff piece. The efficiency has to get better. We just flashed it up on the screen, but he showed, like in Game 6 against OKC, he can come in and turn a game around. If this is your lineup next year, you might win a championship. This is probably a championship team. As much as I'd hate to say it for Oklahoma City, I think this team beats them. I mean, we'll see what Oklahoma City does in the offseason, especially if you can go get DK and Trey Murphy and somehow keep Michael Porter Jr. Because this would be a squad. If you can't keep Michael Porter Jr., you got to go get a backup center, but trading Zeke Naji and Dario Saric should be priority number 1 and 2. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you want the Nuggets to go get? And with that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.